Good morning, teacher. We are going to interview teacher Alma Lilia Sochitiatsi about a blended class and flipped class. First, I want to remember that a blended class combines face-to-face training delivery by a trainer and online learning activities to improve the learning experience and expand understanding of certain topics. And a flipped class transfers the work of certain learning process out the classroom and uses class time together with the experience of the teacher for facilitate and enhance other process of acquisition and practice of knowledge within the classroom. So, teacher Arma, can you tell me in what ways does the flipped classroom or blended learning promotes a students' learning experience?
I think it promotes their autonomy. Yes, they have to check their own, well, they have to, of course, they have to rely on the teacher and their instructions and the information they give to learn what the topic they have to learn. But also, if they have doubts and if the teacher is not around or if it's not at the moment you want to contact her, you have to find in different sources, tutorials, articles, other sources to find and clear what is not clear for you, and then well, I think it improves their autonomy and their own learning, even also in their own pace, because sometimes if they are well, in a classroom and if something is not clear enough, they can look for other information or exercises and work on them on their own. And well, that would be outside the class or outside the hour of the class, and well, try to practice what they don't know, or that is not clear enough for them. Yes.
Okay, teacher. Now, please reply. How did you organize the structure of your blended learning or flipped classroom course?
Well, at the beginning of the pandemic, it was almost we're just looking at well, sorry, we would have classes. I think a couple of days a week, so they don't when students didn't feel like overwhelmed with all the information or so many hours in front of the class. But as the pandemic continued and also we continued having online classes, I think I restructured the way I taught. And instead of having well, 2 or 3 times a class, I decided well, to have the class probably more often. I think it was but for target language, I started to have classes 4 times a week in not the 2 hours. It was, I think, an hour and a half, or but not the 2 hours. So in that way, also we could practice a little bit more because only having like twice or 3 times a day, sorry, a week classes was not enough, and students needed practicing. Well, yeah, they needed to practice not only their grammar or their vocabulary, but also the speaking part, but also having like how can I say an immediate response. Yes, because the recording part of a well a video or an audio, it was good or it is good, but sometimes you need like an immediate I forgot the word, but an immediate response from the listeners. So for that reason, I decided to use to have more classes, and we would have that that immediate response that we wouldn't have with the other type of exercises. Yes, well, that's one way, and also well, I included more activities with platforms, which were how can I say well synchronic. So at the moment we would have the class. Of course, I also let them to do those in well after the hour of class, but we would have some others at the time or at the moment of the class. So I think those things were pretty much what changed or the way I worked with this blended classes to include more speaking activities during the hour of class, the use of platforms at the hour of class to do um, synchronic exercises, and well, of course, the use of the book that was important and to check like directly the exercises from the book directly in class. So in case they have questions, we would answer them right away. Yes.
Okay, teacher, thank you so much for answering. I only have a couple questions more for you. Tell me, how did your
Yes.
students react to this kind of learning?
I think at the beginning we were all kind of lost. We didn't really know or what to expect or what to do. But I think as as time passed and also as the classes were developing, I think we got used to the way well the classes were doing, and I think we all saw the advantages. As I said before, the speaking part was I think was which the speaking part was what was kind of suffering the most because students were not talking to each other. But when I decided to use, for example, uh, rooms, rooms in here in Meet, yes, that's when I saw that students were missing that part of interaction. So um, well, that is something that I think that they liked to also have someone to talk to and to practice, of course. And well, that is a reaction that I saw that they liked. Also, for example, the interactive activities that we did during and after class, I think was a good response from them. They liked them and like, well, yes, I think they liked them because they felt that they were doing something instead of just like working with the book. Well, so I think it was at the beginning something that they probably didn't like. Also, in my case, I think it was difficult, but I think we got used to it, and maybe nothing is going to replace interaction, but we are always, yeah, we are always going to need it to, to practice, to learn, to improve. Um, but well, yes, the online classes also have their advantages, and there are things that we cannot use in the actual classroom now that we are going to come back. Well, probably we would be able to use them, but sometimes the connection is not enough or good enough to have it. So we would have to go back to other activities and not doing the ones that we are kind of experts now with online classes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yes, teacher. I think all what you say is really true. Now, finally, as we mentioned before, there's a list of resources that we use in this blended learning. Can you specify which ones are the most helpful in your course and why?
Well, the platform that we have from the book from inside is pretty good. Well, you directly practice what we check in class, so that one is pretty good. And also where you practice listening, reading, writing, spelling, so all those things. But apart from that, there are other platforms that we can use for games, for questions, for evaluations.
Yes.
So all those that were new at the beginning, well, probably most students know them now. Well, there are some such as Educa Play, Word Wall, quizzes. What else is there? Quizlet. Uh, well, Kahoot, which was like the from the earliest platforms. Yes, I think those were well, those are good resources. Although also overusing them also I think kinds tires students. So like if they see activities, well, if they do those activities every day and all the time, I think it is also well, it also becomes kind of boring for students. So it is okay to use them maybe once or twice a week, just to get the emotions and not to overuse them because, as I said before, if we do something very often, then it becomes boring.
Yeah.
So, well, that, of course, the tools that we have with Office, and what else? You asked me about the materials, right? Or the resources?
Yes, the resources online for saying something.
Yes. There are others, as I mentioned before, to record your voice. Of course, the use of platforms for like synchronic classes. Those are important. And what else did I use? Well, I think I used pretty much those.
Yeah.
Yes, the platforms to have video calls, the platforms, educational platforms, and what else? Yeah, I think that was pretty much it, plus the platform from the book.
Okay. Okay, teacher, thank you so much. It's always interesting to hear and to other professionals' opinions about these topics. Um, but now I think it's kind of evolution of the learning, and it's always
Yes,
difficult to adapt to those and to those change. Well, I think this is all for this interview. Thank you so much again for your time and for your attention. Has been your answer really helpful. I think it's all. My partner want to say something. Kelby?
Well, I only say that I think that this pandemic led us to this type of teaching.
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
Um, I think that this pandemic led us to this type of teaching.
Yes, we learned many things. Some people say that we didn't learn anything because we were just in front of the computer listening to someone. But, well, of course, the listening is important. But as I said, if we do something while we listen and after we listen, so I think it is what is going to lead us to learning. Yes, not just to be there sitting. So we need to be doing something. And also, well, of course, give our best to try to learn because yes, if we are just there, well, learning can be there, but if we are not interested, we are not going to learn. So we can have the best resources, the best materials, the best teachers, but if we don't, yeah, give our best or try to do something, we are not going to learn. So it is important to, well, yes, to practice and to do as much as possible to learn, no matter if it's online or if it's presential. So we have to give our best all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes, teacher. Thank you so much again. This is all. Thank you so much for accept this interview, and I hope you have a really good day.
Thank you. You too. Yes, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Thank you,
too.
teacher.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Okay, this is all for this interview. Thank you so much to the teacher Alma Lilia for accept this interview. Also, thank you to my partner Kelby Jared Andrew Castillo. And of course, this is made from us, my partner and me, Valeria Sanchez Solis, from second semester, Group D. Thank you so much.